Thank you everyone for coming to my birthday party. I just turned 30 now, and I am grateful to share this moment with all of you here tonight. I thought this would be a great opportunity to share my vision with my wonderful friend here. So please let me share my vision with you. I started my career as a designer when I was 40 years old. And when I was 18, I became an entrepreneur. Nowadays, it is not unusual to be an entrepreneur at the age of 18 like me. But back then, I only know 2 or 3 companies owned by students in Kansai area as far as I know. Being an entrepreneur was something people at my age had never thought of, and people around me had never expected me to become one. So people kept asking me, why do you choose to take risk and be an entrepreneur instead of joining a company? Our young experienced student running a company, he will go bankrupt soon, people said. I betrayed their expectations is a good way. Achieved my goal. And people start to call me successful entrepreneur. Now that you know more about me, I want to move on to the main topic. What I want to share with you today is about my philosophy of life, being entrepreneur. This is not about forcing you to be an entrepreneur, but rather I'd love to invest in people like you who are talented enough to start their own company. Since my company exists as an accelerator, what comes to your mind when you hear be an entrepreneur? Start your company as an entrepreneur and get listed, contribute to society. There may be many opinions about this. But what I wanted to tell you here is not something new. You all may have eaten your heart and practice eating your daily lives. When I talk about this philosophy, being an entrepreneur, I always split this idea into 3 aspects. First, DIY, do it yourself. Second, PSL, problem solution fit. Third, QOL, quality of life. You may have heard all of these terms except the second, problem solution fit. DIY means design your job or even your life by yourself. For those who have never experienced starting their own business, they believe that that's the best way to live their lives is to belong to a company and get paid. It was hard to understand this way of thinking when I was 18, when I started my career as an entrepreneur, and here I am, 20 years later. I still don't get it. This is my life. It belongs to me. Why should I have to work for someone else's company? Moreover, why should I just adjust my abilities to a particular position which was made by someone else? Yes, I was different. I still am. This is one of the reasons why I run my own company. I want to do everything on my terms, including my company, my job, and even my life, in order to live as who I am. Do it yourself. Make my own company instead of looking for one which suits me. If there is no job that fits me, create one by myself. Make my own life. Even if it is unusual, I chose to be an entrepreneur, to live my life, which does not belong to anybody else, which exists only for myself. We live only once. If there were someone who had lived one life already and claims that this is their second time, I would listen to their opinion. The second aspect is PSF. This means getting the skill to solve the problems. Problem solving for the case is not something like exams that there is always a final answer to the problem you try to solve. I am talking about skill like observing society. Listen to what society is desperate for finding the problems that are not solved and solving them. Many entrepreneurs are dealing with social problems, and they provide their service as a way of solving those problems. Our ancestors found the solution to the problem of being cold by making fire, unable to record information by embedding letters. My company, TechFund, also provides a solution to the problem of funding for startups by issuing their coins for funding. They seem like crazy idea at first, but they were developed as a way of solving the problems. Every entrepreneur has this problem solution fit skill, and I think this skill is very important for those who are not entrepreneurs as well. When I talk about the third aspect, QOL, I always tend to be misunderstood, but today I want to tell you this without worrying about misunderstanding. Quality of life. I mean living our lives with feeling really fulfilled is something we can achieve without being an entrepreneur. Our quality of life depends on your value, and only you know what is right and what is wrong for your life. Perhaps I should talk about this some other time, but instead, I am going to tell you about 3 facts that might change your QOL. Singularity. In 2045, it is said that AI will surpass human intelligence. This is called singularity. 47 of employment is the US will disappear by 2035 because of this. People will have more time to spend on something except work, and as a result, they will think more deeply about their quality of life. 2. Decentralized. This is closely
closely related blockchain. Have you heard of blockchain before? I'm not going to about a complicated skill here, but people talk about blockchain as the technology that will cause the breakdown of capitalism. To put it simple, because of this technology, the centralized service will no longer be needed. Smaller capitalism will be developed under the current capitalist system through your having your own coins, which will be issued through blockchain. As a result, you will be able to live only with an economy.
That is closely related to your life. Finally, the current capitalist system will collapse through division into smaller capitalism. This will give people more choice besides going with the flow in structure. Capitalism will make people think more about the quality of life. So, basic income. This will work and be realized together with singularity. Basic income is a system issued by the government that provides the income which is needed to ensure the minimum standing of living. When singularity actually happens, the productivity of AI will increase dramatically, resulting in the world with no work. In other words, people will be able to live without working, and the meaning of work for people will change. This basic income is a project that has already started experimentally. It seems like people want the kind of jobs they can make money, and they don't accept jobs like volunteering, which people cannot make money as a job. This kind of gap will disappear and people will think differently about the quality of life. In order to face those three factors, the idea of being entrepreneur will be very important. Having the skills to make our own jobs. When singularity happens, leadership to make our own economy. When capitalism breaks down under the ability to think of the meaning of work, the basic income becomes the mainstream. All skills for improving the quality of life. Don't you think it is exacting to be entrepreneur? I talked about my philosophy of be entrepreneur based on three aspects: DIY, PSF, QOL. As I mentioned at the beginning, I am not trying to force you to be entrepreneurs. I just hope that you might find something new about the idea or things your own business, and hope that being an entrepreneur will help you to fulfill your life. Be entrepreneur, live your own life. Be entrepreneur, be strong-minded and try everything. Thank you.
Yeah.